Rani ki jai. We offer our most respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen, deficient souls. Jai Vanchitapa Duribhishcha, Kripa Sindhu Yevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Alrighty. Okay. Jaya Radha Madhova Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhova Kunya Bihari Gopinath Malabha Kirivardhati Gopinath Malabha Kirivardhati Yasodanandana Brajajana Randana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tera Vanachare Yamuna Tera Vanachare Jaya Radha Madhova Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhova Kunya Bihari Gopijana Malabha Girivardhati Gopijana Malabha Girivardhati Yasudhanandana Vrajajana Randana Yasudhanandana Vrajajana Randana Yamuna Tera Vanachare Yamuna Tera Vanachare Jayo Radha Madhuva Kunjabi Kahuti Jayo Radha Madhuva Kunjabi Hari Dava Kunjabi Hari Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravatikacharya also Tata Satashi Shima Jai Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Syamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Machuradam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Manamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasadevi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Pudle Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravadi Charni Nirshesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deja Tarni. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 48th chapter, text 26. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ka Pandatas Twad Aparam Sharanang Samiyad. Whoops, skipped. I know, skipped pages here. Bhakta Priyad Rita Gira Sureda Kritak Gyat Sarvan Dadati Suredo Vajato Abhikaman Atmanam Api Upachaya Pachayo Na Yasha Ka Panditastwadaparam Sharanam Samiyad. I'll go slower. Bhakta Priyan Rita Gira Surida Kritagyat. Sarvandadati Suredo Bhajato Bikaman. Atmanamap Yupachaya Pachayo Nayasya. Ka Panditastwadaparam Sharanam Samiyad. Bhakta Priyadritakira Suhitakritagyat. Sarvam Dadati Suredo Bhajato Bikaman. Atmanam Apyupachaya Pachayao Naya Yasya. Ka Panditastwadaparam Sharanam Samiyad. Bhakta Priyadritagira Surida Kritagyat. Sarvandadati Surino Bhajato Bikaman. Amanamapyupachaya Pachayao Nadyasya. Okay. God Pandita. Pajataya Pachayao Yashat. Okay. Ka what? Pandita scholar, twat, other than you, aparam, to another, sharanam, for shelter, samiyat, would go, bhakta, to your devotees, priyat, affectionate, urita, always true, gira, whose words, surila, the well-wisher, kritanyat, grateful, sarvan, all, tadati, you give, surida, to your well-wishing devotees, bhajata, who are engaged in worshiping you, abhikaman, desires, atmanam, yourself, api, even, upachaya, increase, apachaya, or diminution, na, never, yasha, whose, translation, what learned person would approach anyone but you for shelter when you are the affectionate, grateful, and truthful well-wisher of your devotees? To those who worship you in sincere friendship, you reward everything they desire, even your own self, yet you never increase or diminish. So you can repeat, what learned person would approach anyone but you for shelter when you are the affectionate, grateful, and truthful well-wisher of your devotees? To those who worship you in sincere friendship, you reward everything they desire, even your own self, yet you never increase or diminish. So, purport by the followers of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, this verse describes both the Lord and His devotees as suhrita, well-wishers. The Lord is the well-wisher of His devotee, and the devotee lovingly desires all happiness for the Lord. Even in this world, an excess of love may sometimes produce unnecessary solicitude. So, Prabhupada, the devotees are referring to excess of love doesn't mean too much or bad in a negative sense, but means a lot more love than necessary. So try to understand this. For example, we often observe that a mother's loving concern for her adult child is not always justified by an actual danger to the child. A grown child may be wealthy, competent, and healthy, and yet the mother's loving concern continues. Similarly, a pure devotee always feels loving concern for Lord Krishna, as exemplified by Mother Yashoda, who can only think of Krishna as her beautiful son. Lord Krishna had promised Akrura that after killing Kamsa, he would visit his home, and now the Lord kept his promise. Akrura recognizes this and glorifies the Lord as Vritagira, one who is true to his word. The Lord is Kritagya, grateful for whatever little worship a devotee offers, and even if the devotee forgets, the Lord does not. I'll read the Sanskrit again. We go on. Ka panditatstvada param sharanam samiyad bhakta priyad ritakritya surada kritavyat sarvam dadati surado bhajato vikaman atmanam up yupachaya pachaya nayasya. Okay, so Omagana Timiranda Shagananjana Shalakya Chakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai Shigadavena Maha. So maybe I'll read a little bit of the commentaries by the Acharyas. I'm going to skip over some of it, but especially because they're very lengthy here, and we wouldn't have enough time. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions in the middle of his commentary that he translates the word surida as splendorous heart. Or, actually, su
generally means like something auspicious or good, like you have what, Subhadra, right? And Hridam means, of course, heart. So, in other words, Krishna is a good heart. And of course, that word is used many cases. In the Bhagavad Gita, for example, Suridam Sarvabhutanam Getwamam Shantim Richati. And one who understands this will always be peaceful. Bhoktaram, and not only that, Bhoktaram Jagatapasam Sarva Lokamaheshwaram Suridam. One understands the Lord's enjoyer. This is pretty much the same thing that's mentioned in this verse. The Lord is the enjoyer. Suridam Sarvabhutanam. He's the friend of all living entities. He is the well-wisher. Bhoktaram Sarvaloksha. He is the Lord of all the world. Suridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatwamam Shanti Mrichi. That person becomes Shanti, or peaceful. So, a very important point. So, without personal desire. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is pretty much summarizing the verse. Though presented with all things by millions of Brahmas, of millions of universes, you do not increase, and although you give everything, even yourself, to your devotees, you have no decrease because of your inconceivable, unlimited energy. And of course, that's the Upanishad, right? Om Purnam Purnamidam. That you're perfect and complete, even though you have so many emanations, and each one of those are perfect and complete, you remain the perfect and complete. And Krishna has no need, he's aptakama, many things I've spoken about before. He can fulfill his own desires just by desiring something. And he's swarat, independent. This is all teachings of the Bhagavatam. And Jiva Goswami in his commentary states, one should surrender to you because you, famous for your affection to your devotees, including even Putana, because she dressed like a devotee. I thought that quite interesting. Prabhupada sometimes said, sometimes you put the dress on, and then you later on fulfill the requirements for that particular dress. It's almost like in the Old West, you had these deputy sheriffs who were completely unqualified, and they just put a badge on them. And some of them actually made it, and some of them didn't. So in the same way, like Prabhupada really did that with us. He dressed us, not only in a literal sense, but also in a more deeper sense, not figurative so much, but in a deeper sense, he dressed us or addressed us as devotees. And then because Prabhupada addressed us, using the word address instead of dress right now, he addressed us or saw us as devotees. We did that, and we came up to the standard. And of course, ultimately, yes, a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada sees everybody as a devotee because Prabhupada is a Mahabhagavad. And a pure devotee ultimately sees, Mahabhagavad sees everyone as a devotee except for himself. Everyone's serving Krishna. But Prabhupada, so this is actually how we can bring people to Krishna consciousness. We see everybody as a devotee, and we address them like they're devotees. We should not think, oh, there's the karmis running around. We should think, oh, they're engaged in karmic activity, but they're not karmis. Ultimately, Jivera Swarupohoy Nitya Krishna Das. That does not only apply to me, but it applies to everybody out there. Everyone is the eternal servant of Krishna, and they've forgotten it. So, therefore, when we greet someone, and we see that in the case of my dear godbrother Vaisheshika, he greets everyone like they're a friend. You ever see him? Well, I used to go on book distribution with him. Because I could distribute one book to his 1,000. That's pretty useless. So it was just like, he would just wave at someone from 100 feet away, and the person would just run up to him. Give me the book, because he's my good buddy. So anyway, so this is the point. We address everybody. We see everybody as a devotee. And Krishna does too. Krishna actually sees that too. And then there's the quote here from the 3rd canto, 2nd chapter, 23rd verse. by Jiva Goswami. O evil Putana, who offered her poisonous breast to Krishna to drink with the intention of killing him, attain the position of a nurse in the spiritual world. Who else, actually, this is bad spelling, who else is so merciful? I surrendered to him. 3:2:23. So that also reminds me of the story of the guy who went to Vrindavan because he heard that there was a little boy who was very rich. He had a lot of jewels on him. And then finally he saw Krishna and he lost interest in the jewels. So akama sarvakama mokshakama dharadi tivrena bhakti yogeni yajeta purusham param. Whatever reason one comes to Krishna, they want liberation, they're free of desires, they're full of desires, or their desires liberation, then one should enthusiastically encourage them to worship Krishna. So, let's see. Though he may be absorbed in his highest devotees, by his will everything is accomplished. He is not dependent on his devotees or assistants to him, but is dependent on them if they take shelter of him, surada. So he's not dependent ontologically on them for his necessities, but he is dependent on them for the loving exchange. He is not ignorant of their assistance, since he is grateful, knowing who has helped him. I'm trying to skip over this because we have limited time in here. He gives all that can be desired to one who serves him by offering flowers and leaves, and he gives himself as a friend to one who acts in a friendly manner. He becomes dependent on that person. Therefore, it is not astonishing that you have come to my house, which is Akrura. Who would surrender? This is Sanatana Goswami, finally. Who would surrender to devatas or other rulers at some time or some means? This long I is poetic license. The real intelligent person, in other words, it's a question, who would? So it's poetic license of saying no one should. You understand? The real intelligent person should surrender to you only since you have great qualities. You are affectionate to the devotees. You speak true words, such as, I am the shelter for those in pain. Wow. Do you want to be in pain? We're all in pain. I was listening to Prabhupada this morning. He was talking about the threefold miseries, Adhyatmic, Adhibodhic, and Adhidaivic. And he said, we're all in this situation here. You are thus affectionate to the miserable. So I'm going to interject a story here. I'll just say one more sentence here. You are the friend giving unqualified mercy. So Krishna being the friend, one of the names of Krishna as the friend is what? Dinabandhu, the friend of the poor. And in this regard, here's an interesting story that some of you have heard before. Once upon a time, there was a boy from a very, very poor family. And he was going to school. And in those days, the school and the teachers existed by charity. The students would give charity, whatever they had, to the teacher and to the school. And there was no question of a salary. When people take salaries, for devotional service, Prabhupada actually said it's not devotional service anymore when you take a salary for what you're doing. So then Prabhupada said the result for that activity is actually, just the money itself. Prabhupada spoke very heavily. I remember I was there, and when he came to Los Angeles and he was informed that some of the devotees were on salary basis, Prabhupada got really upset. So anyway, apart from that, the teachers existed because the students gave them charity. So this particular teacher wanted to have a festival. And he said to the students, you should all bring something for the festival so that everyone can eat. What we call in America is potluck, right? He was asking everybody, what are you going to bring? What are you going to bring? And the little boy, who was very poor, didn't know. Basically, he said, I'll bring some yogurt or something. Yogurt. It was actually yogurt. And so he goes home and he asks his mother, what do we have to bring? Do we have any yogurt or anything to bring? And his mother says, no, we have nothing. I don't even know if he had a father. There's no mention of that in this story. So he says, what am I going to do? Who can I ask? And she says, you have a friend. His name is Dina Bandhu. So where is he? Where is he, Mom? Well, I've heard he's in the forest. So the little boy goes to the forest and starts crying, Dina Bandhu, my friend. Help. And Dina Bandhu, Krishna comes out and says, all right, what would you want? Some yogurt for the teacher. And said, all right, here's the pot. Give the yogurt to the teacher, and the teacher will be satisfied. So the teacher comes to the next day to the school and asks the students, what have you all brought? And the little boy finally comes forward and says, I brought some yogurt. And the teacher says, oh, very nice, and then looks at the pot and says, this is ridiculous, little tiny Loda or something like that. And the teacher's, stupid kid. And she throws the pot down or the Loda down, and then all the yogurt goes all over the place, picks it up, and then it's still full. And so it provides basically unlimited yogurt for all the students there. So anyway, so Krishna is the friend of the poor. And when you actually consider yourself like that, poor, Trinadapi Sinuichena Tarori Vasihishana Manina Mandadena Kirtaniya Sadari, like devoid of good qualities, that means humble. O Gopinath, Mama Nivedan and the Shuno, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur states, I'm devoid of all good qualities. Shunya, shunya means nothing, zero. I have no good qualities. Then you can actually pray to Krishna like that. Janmaishvarya Shrudasha Shibir Edamana Adapuman, as Queen Kunti prays. Not to be attached to any of these attributes you may have, like your bodily beauty. Of course, I don't have that problem at my age, but Krishna's helped me with that one. So, Jan Aishvarya, opulence. Oh, my mother left me some money. Shrutasha, I'm so intelligent. I can juggle words. Shribir, beauty, forget about that one. Anyway, so then one can really approach Hwama Kinchana Gochara. One can approach Krishna in that particular mood. As Dinabandha, I'm fallen, and you're the friend of the fallen. Okay, let me continue with this. So, another point I want to make here, I'm not going to go through this whole commentary because I have some other things I wanted to talk about, is that Akrura, it's described, and we skipped over this in the commentary, but Akrura, his house, he specifically made his house and had his house for the pleasure of the Lord. That was his consciousness. Okay, so now we'll get to the points that I noted down. So there's many verses that speak about Krishna as an intimate friend or Surit or Dinabandhu, and I'm going to cite some of these verses. One is in the 9th canto, 18th chapter, a beautiful verse in the 9th canto of Srimad. I'm sorry, not 9th canto, 9th chapter. Sorry, I got this wrong. 9th chapter of the Gita, 18th verse, which uses the same word, Surit. Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Sharanam Suret Prabhava Pralayasthanam Nidanam Bijamaviyam. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, Krishna's everything, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and the eternal seed. And of course, that reminds me of Aham Sarvasya Prabhupada, Matak Sarvam Pravartite, Matva Bachanti Mam, Udabhavam Samavrta, right? I'm the source of everything. Everything comes from me. From me, the entire creation flows. And then, based on that, Tesham Satadiyuktanam Bhajatam Pratipurvakam Dadami Buddhiyogam Tam Yenamamupiyantite. Also, Machata, Magata, Prana. So, anyway, so these things follow one another. Another verse, famous verse from the Bhagavatam, is 1:2:17. Some of you may know this verse. Srinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantoksta Yabadrani Vidunoti Saritsatam. And so this is also indicative of how we can call our friend Dinabandhu. Srinvata Swakata Krishna. Krishna Kata. Krishna's holy names. One hears Krishna's holy names. Punya Shravana Kirtana. It is the most exalted, spiritually pious activity that one could perform, not materially pious activity, not punya in terms of this material punya. That's also described about the cowherd boys, Krita Punya Punya, how they performed, isn't it? Devotional service, transcendental punya for many births, and that's how they got his chance to associate with the Lord as his friend. Krita Punya Punya. So, Srinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana. What is that? Hearing. Kirtana. Chanting. That's amazing. Amazing verse. Like hearing and chanting. Shravanam Kirtanam. Krishna manifests himself through his holy name. He manifests himself through the sound vibration of the Bhagavatam. The sound vibration of the pure devotees, such as Srila Prabhupada. As Srila Prabhupada commented, that the saffron dust particles of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are within the sound vibration of a pure devotee speaking. I was realizing this. I mean, I realize this every morning when I listen to Prabhupada. But, I mean, last night before I took rest, I read a little bit of the Nectar Devotion, something I've read so many times before. And, and just like coming in contact with Prabhupada there, even simple words from the Nectar Devotion were enough to, enliven me. Normally some rascal puts National Geographics by my bed. I'm tempted to read them at the time of taking rest, which is really kind of stupid for me. But you put these like Lermit's, Maya Devi. But hearing from Prabhupada, it's just so enlivening because it's Krishna is there. Krishna say Tamar, Krishna dite par. And so, I actually became enlivened and I couldn't sleep. But anyway, that's another issue. Don't read Krishna Katha before you go to sleep. So, Krishna book you could read. But anyway, it's just like Krishna's there in that transcendental sound vibration. And actually, I began to understand things in the Nectar Devotion I hadn't understood before. It's interesting how you read Prabhupada's books, isn't it? And they reveal something new each time you read them. They're alive. It's Krishna. They're non-different from Krishna. And then, of course, continuing with this particular verse, Hridyantaksto Yabadranu Vidunoti Saritsadam, that your Dinabandhu is not somewhere else. He's not just in Vrindavan. You have to go to Vrindavan to find Krishna. Hridyantaksto. What? He's situated in your heart. Just like Hanuman. You know Hanuman? No. Hanuman was accused one time of not having any love for Sita and Ram because he was chewing on the pearls that Sita Devi had given him. He was chewing them, trying to find, is Ram here in the pearl? Can you imagine that? So he was chewing on these pearls. If I got pearls from Sita Devi, I don't know if I'd chew on them. But plus my teeth aren't that strong. So anyway, so He was chewing on the pearls. He said, "How much love do you have for Sita and Ram?" And so then he went to his heart, ripped open his heart, and Sita and Ram were within his heart. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Now, I won't try that myself. So, Ridyantak sto, Yabhadrana, Krishna is the well-wisher. Virunoti suritsatam. And then he cleanses the impurities in our heart. This is the process of Krishna consciousness. So Akrura is inviting Krishna to his home, but Krishna is already in our home. Isn't it? He's already in there. And we should also understand that our body is a temple of Krishna. Why do we put tilak on? Is it just like our war paint? You know, you're going to war. Like the American Indians or the Fijians, whatever. No, it's we're decorating the temple. Of course, the funny thing, I'll just a funny story. One lusty devotee came to the temple, and he was told this is decorating the temple, and he looked at one of the ladies there and said, "I like that temple." Anyway, that's just a joke. It's nothing to do with class. But it's a temple. And we've invited Krishna. Krishna is there in our hearts. And we should make our homes, too, make our homes temples. Okay. So, anyway, so he's our well-wisher in the heart. Ridyantak sto Yabhadrani, Virunoti surichatam. And he's the one who cleanses the heart. Prabhupada said, you can't cleanse your own heart. Prabhupada said, your own heart is like what? Piece of coal, and the more you try to clean it, the dirtier your hands get. Not a very good idea, but Krishna is able to do that. So, very beautiful verse, and there's another verse from the first canto, 11th chapter, text 17, about 11th chapter, text 17 of the Bhagavatam. Was a beautiful verse about, I'm not going to read the Sanskrit because it's quite lengthy. This is when Krishna enters Dwarka. The residents of Dwarka are praying to him. O creator of the universe, you are our mother, our well-wisher, Lord, Father. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has a beautiful poem like this. Father, spiritual master, and worshipful deity, by following your footsteps, we have become successful in every respect. We pray, therefore, that you continue to bless us with your mercy. And, Krishna Pati. Then from the third canto, 9th chapter, text 12, there's a beautiful verse. Very long. My Lord, you were not very much satisfied when you were worshipped by the demigods who arranged for your worship very pompously with various paraphernalia, but are full of material hankerings. As you are situated in the heart of all living entities, just to show them your causeless mercy, and you are their eternal well-wisher. But you are unavailable for the non-devotee. Okay, hold on a second. Beautiful prayers. That's by, sorry about that. 3:9:12. Bhagavatam. So I have a lot of prayers here. Wow. I had too much here anyway. I guess and so finally I just want to recite this one verse, one of my favorite verses. Sadhava Riyan Maham, Sadhanam Riyam Twaham, Madhanyatani Janati, Naham Tebyo Managapi. And that's from the Ambarish story. I'm in the heart of the sadhus, and the sadhus are in my heart. And because the sadhus do not know anyone else other than me, I do not know anyone else other than them. And Krishna is reciprocating with all of us. If you're interested in any of these verses, anytime I give class, I have all the verses written down. I'll be happy to send you my notes. If you just send me a note, I can always email you. And they're text files.
Adipurusha Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindanalaya Taksham Bharavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Pasyan Dipan Dikayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Namagom Vishanupadaya Krishna Pristaya Mutalai Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Sawaniti Domine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Bachar Nege Nivesesha Shunyavane Paschachagare Satarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaurata Vrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Na Sri Advaita Nada Sivasati Gaurata Drek Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Ganada Shiva Sade Gaurata Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Shiva Sade Gaurata Vrinda. Chaitanya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Shiva Sade Gaurata Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Goloka Rana Goloka Ragate. Jaya Radha Goloka Rana Goloka Ragate. Jaya Radha. Hey, Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Radhe, hey, Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe, Jai Om Vishnu.
Cheto Darpanam Arjanam Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Pranamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinada Pisunichena Tarora Pisahishuna Amani Namanadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoita Kitwai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Budao Kripayata Vapada Pankaja Stutaruli Sadrashim Vachintaya Nayanam Galashu Daraya Vadanam Gadgadaradaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyava Padam Radasnuma Adarshanam Marmata Karotuva Yatatata Vabadidaturam Patomat Prananata Susha Evanapara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sensual prestige, and should be for all others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I